puts you to the front court. Gets it to Thompson. A three. Timeout, Houston.
It's a Bay Area bucket binge by the Warriors, who lived to see a Game 7 of the conference finals. They outscored the Rockets by 46 after trailing by 17 in the first quarter. And we have a Game 7 coming up on Monday night. That's Grant Hill, Brendan Haywood. I'm Matt Weiner. Post-game coverage here. Klay Thompson, reminiscent of his Game 6 against Oklahoma City a couple of years ago when they were facing elimination, goes off for 21 of his 35 in the second half. And the Rockets either ran out of gas or just ran into a very motivated Warriors team.
Matt, I think it was both. I mean, we talked early. We saw the first quarter. Houston came out on fire, hitting shots, just playing with so much confidence, and the Warriors were on the ropes there. But I'll tell you what, they showed a lot of heart. They started to get some momentum there in the second quarter. And really, that second half, defensively, what they did, they increased the activity, the energy level, getting steals, deflections, getting out in the open court, getting shots, of course, and then Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, the Splash Brothers were just, truly amazing tonight. What a performance, what a second half, what a team effort there, Golden State, especially being down early, big. I think 17 points at one point.
And looking bad in the first quarter. The Warriors did not look like themselves at all early on in this game.
Looked as bad as I've seen them all season.
And that's what, when we talk about championship demeanor, this is what we're talking about. They were down at home. They were down big early. They got hit in the mouth. Houston came out with all of the energy. And that's where, if you don't have that championship swagger, if you don't have that belief, that confidence in yourself, guys can start fraying and going in their own different directions, start thinking about the excuses, start thinking about next year. This team didn't do that. They dug in. They played excellent defense. In the second half, I think Houston only scored like maybe, 25, 30 points. They had an excellent defensive effort. They got a little bit more ball movement. Klay Thompson came to play. He saved his biggest game in these playoffs for one of the biggest moments. They needed all of his points tonight. They needed all 9 of those threes. Those were huge momentum type of shots. And once again, the Warriors in the third quarter, I don't know what Steve Kerr says to these guys at halftime. I don't know what Steve Kerr puts in the Gatorade or the Powerade or whatever they're drinking. But the Warriors come out better than anybody else in the third quarter, and their third quarter runs are legendary.
It has been their quarter all season long. Here's Coach Mike D'Antoni about to get on a plane and head home for a Game 7.
Boy, everybody went home early today?
Mike D'Antoni with the Los Angeles Times. Without Chris Paul, I'm sure you realize that turnovers could be a problem, but did you expect them to be this big of an issue, and what did you think kind of led to them?
Well, we a little bit of them, a little bit of us, a little carelessness, a little tiredness, whatever. The bottom line is we can't turn it over, and we need to do a better job. But we knew this was hard. They're champs. They were going to come back fighting, and they did. They did their part. And I just saw a lot of things I really liked out there. I like where we are. I don't know exactly where we are, but no, you know what? If we're in Bahamas in, I think it was end of July or August with the guys, and if someone told us we got the 7th game on our home court against Golden State, would you sign up for it? Yeah, we'd sign up right there. So we got what we want. Now it's up to us to go get it, and it'll be rocking, and H-Town will be fired up, and now it's up to us to knock them out.
Mike, Art Spander, you played great defense in the first half, and did they start slipping free? What happened?
A little bit. I think the turnovers got them going, and then once you get them going, and they get out of the box, and we didn't communicate real well 2 or 3 times, and then they just got on a roll. You get these guys on a roll, and they can hurt you, and they did. They've done it a couple games now, and so it's going to be up to us on Monday to knock them out. Like I said, they're not going to go away easy.
Grant Cohn, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Do you feel your team got tired?
Yeah, I'm sure they did, but so did they. I mean, probably the minutes were like their top 3 or 4, like our top 3 or 4. But it gets complicated when we turn it over. Got a little deflated. They got on a roll. A lot of things added to that. But so be it. I mean, this is the playoffs, and some guys are going to get tired, but we're going to have to fight through it.
Coach Dan, Tony Harvey, Sacramento Observer. Can you talk about Klay Thompson? He really gave you guys some fits with those 9 threes.
Well, he got on a roll. He hit some big ones too. I mean, they hit some shots like we're up 10 or something. I think he started the second half with a covered 3, and that helped them. Then Durant hit something covered, and they just started clicking, and that's probably why they've won 3 or 4 championships of late. So I think we know what we have to do. We'll find our necessary energy with our crowd, and then should be a great game.
Jonathan Fagan, Houston Chronicle. Obviously, some of the looks in the second half didn't go that were going in the first half, but fewer of them. What made it so much more difficult to sort of execute and get the shots you wanted in the second half?
I think the turnover is the biggest problem. Probably didn't get in transition as much because they're scoring now. We're walking up every time. So, in the first half they're missing. We're running it up. It's a big difference. So it kind of goes hand in hand between, getting good offense and having stops. And we got to get back to getting stops, not turn it over, and take care of business. And again, it's a little bit normal. We shot 50% from threes in the first half. When you're not going to shoot 50% the whole game. And we ended up we got 15 for 30. I can't even read. 15 for 39. But that should be good enough. Our defense just kind of let us down a little bit. And we turned it over, and that's caused the defense to let down.
Coach, Owen Modest, KPIX. Was the Joe Johnson sighting somehow of a plan for Game 7, testing something out? And what do you envision with the rotation, knowing that Chris Paul is kind of in a limbo?
Yeah, well, we'll have to figure it out yet. I know I'm real open with I don't know. So I don't know yet. I'll let you know game time. But, I was looking at a lot of guys, just trying to find that 7th guy that's a little bit more comfortable and that we can be comfortable with. So, I have my ideas, obviously, and we'll work toward there.
Mike, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Kevin and Steph are obviously such superstar players that you always have to have your main focus on them. When Klay does erupt the way he did tonight, what are you trying to do there? What are you telling them in timeouts when he keeps getting look after look after look? Well,
there's nothing. We know how we have to guard him, and a lot of those looks were Klay Thompson, and you was talking about 2 superstars. I said, well, they got 3 superstars. They got 4 superstars. They got a lot of guys. Klay Thompson, anybody can score like, what do you have, 60 and a quarter or something? That puts him in elite status. So I don't think it's surprising to anybody. They've seen this time and time. Now it's up to us to do a better job. So we will. We won't turn it over as much, and we'll do a few things.
Mike Tanwyck with the Los Angeles Times again. 2 questions. Are you any more optimistic that Chris might be able to play Game 7 after the 2 days of treatment?
I'm not thinking about it because I don't know. I have no idea.
And then
I was in pre-med, just to let you know. And I'm pretty good, but just the doctors are, they'll tell me. I have no idea.
And secondly, what was it like having him on the bench, and what was his energy level like?
I hate it. On the bench, he needs to be on the floor. No, he doesn't need to be anywhere near us. He needs to be out there. No, he's great. He's a winner, and it's just I think he was more uncomfortable than we were. Obviously having him there is great in those circumstances. He wants to be on the floor. It probably killed him more than anything. He sat over there with us. It's not a great. Just he's getting his taste of. I don't think coaching's for me. He wants to be on the floor. We'll get him there soon.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike D'Antoni there. This is what he witnessed tonight. Steph Curry and the Warriors, 3-1 facing elimination in the Steve Kerr era. James Harden kind of going it alone with his running mate Chris Paul on the bench with that hamstring, at least in the warm-ups tonight, going with comfort instead of a suit. And in the first quarter, it didn't look like they'd need Chris Paul for a Game 7 because it looked like the Rockets were going to take care of Game 6. 8 of 12 from three-point range in the first quarter. They outscored the Warriors by 21 points in the first from the three-point line.
It was looking good early on. Big game James had it going. Houston had it rolling and looked like the champs were on the rope.
17-point lead after 1 for Houston.
Ooh.
Second quarter, Klay Thompson for 3. That's foreshadowing. And then Kevin Durant is a great two-way play, a block on James Harden. And Durant will keep it himself past P.J. Tucker and through P.J. Tucker. Finished with 23 on the night. And probably didn't have one of his better games. Harden closes the half. And one there. Harden to P.J. Tucker.
Ooh. Great move. Even better, find Harden with the vision, finding P.J. Tucker in the corner. Rockets were looking good right there, Grant.
Harden had 22, 5 rebounds, 7 assists at the half. It was a 10-point game. And then the third quarter, remember this quarter? They should just rename it the Warriors quarter.
I think Steve Kerr gave them their vitamins because they came out here in the third quarter and Klay Thompson said, I am not going home. This is my house.
Mama call him Klay. I'm going to call him Klay.
They win the third 33-16. Thompson knocked down 4 of 5 from 3. Steph Curry 3 of 4 from 3. 21 points between the two of them. Harden's not quite done yet. He knocks down the 3. He had 32 on the night. On the break, Thompson.
I think it was right there, Matt, to close out the third quarter. They got hot. Thompson hit a 3. Steph hits a 3. All of a sudden, they got a little bit of a lead going into that fourth.
More splashing.
Oh, my goodness. The Splash Brothers came to play. This is what championship ball is all about. Making plays like this on the offense and defensive end.
And then they put it away. Defense to offense. Green with the block.
Ooh, splash!
And it's Thompson who had the feeling. Warriors moving it around. Steph Curry knocks down a 3. And then Thompson one more.
Got to get a hand up on that guy.
Leave him open. Come on. Come on.
He goes for 35 on the night. And Harden can only watch. 115-86 now. Warriors improved to 4-1, facing elimination in the Steve Kerr era, and 17-1 on their home floor since Kevin Durant signed up. Afterward, David Aldridge with Klay Thompson.
Well, I thought Klay was amazing tonight. Not just the 35 points and the 9 threes, but his defense. The guy's a machine. I mean, he's just so fit physically, and he seems to thrive in these situations. But he was fantastic.
Steve, Janie McCauley from AP. The sequence there early in the fourth, where you guys, Nick Young was the point person on Harden, and you got 2 defensive stops, and then Klay's 3. How big was that?
The fourth quarter defense was fantastic. I thought Nick Young did a great job defensively. Gave us 16 big minutes. There's been a war of attrition this series, and I went away from Nick last game, went to Quinn, and came back to Nick this time, and I thought he handled himself really well. He made a beautiful catch and go, catch and drive and pass to Sean Livingston for a big basket. But his defense was what really stood out.
Anthony Sutter with The Athletic. How much of the strategy tonight was just kind of push at all costs? It seems like make or miss. You guys were really trying to run it up more than usual.
Yeah. We wanted to push made or miss. We want to do that all the time, but for whatever reason, we haven't been doing that in this series. And so we did a better job of that tonight. And I thought, it was kind of a strange game because our defense has been really good throughout the series, and tonight it was awful to start the game. We lost people in transition. We didn't communicate. We gave up wide open threes. They scored 39 points in the first quarter, and it was sort of a head scratcher. I was more worried about the offense coming into the game than the defense. But the defense eventually kicked in, and obviously that led to transition, and the shot making in the second half was just amazing.
Steve, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group. Tonight in this season, what's it been about the third quarter that brings the best out of you guys?
Just incredible halftime adjustments by the coaching staff is the main thing. I don't know. I think our guys, all season long, they've played great third quarters. I think they tend to get dialed in a little bit more. Tonight was a pretty good microcosm of our team in many ways. We have these lapses, and then we have these bursts and everything in between. So it's a strange start to the game. You could tell Houston could see it. They could see the finals right here. And we kind of thought they would come out hot because this was a little bit of a free swing for them. Game 6 on the road. They know they got Game 7 in their back pocket at home. So they came out loose. I thought they would shoot 53s tonight. They got 39, but it seemed like 50 to me early in the game, and that's where it was heading. But I think once we settled down defensively and started staying with people and not making mistakes in transition, then we wore them down a little bit.
Coach Al Sarasovic, center back here. This was a pretty schizophrenic game. You started talking about it right there, and it seems like that's been a thread throughout the whole season. What do you think was wrong in the first half? And other than the great halftime adjustments that you talked about, how they it looked like two different teams out there.
Yeah. If you have any idea, please let me know, because I have no clue why our team is like this. But this is kind of what we do. We're up and down a little bit. But the one thing I do know is that our guys, they have a ton of character. They have a ton of competitive desire. They're champions. So our guys, they compete. That's the main thing. They may not always focus, but they compete.
Melissa Rowland, Bay Area News Group. After what was relatively a slowish start for Stephen Curry, what did you think of the way he went on to trust his shot and affect the game?
Steph was fantastic. Early in the game, he and KD really struggled, and it seemed to me we were in a big rush. We were passing up layups to try to shoot threes in transition. We were launching threes just without a thought of maybe getting a better shot. And then I think once we kind of settled down and got back in the game and cut it to 8 or 10 points, I think we kind of calmed down. I think Draymond at halftime used the John Wooden line. He said, "Be quick, but don't hurry." And nobody's ever said it better than John Wooden. That's the game of basketball. Be quick, but don't hurry. We were in such a hurry that first maybe 18, 20 minutes. We kind of settled in.
Steve, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. This game was reminiscent for Clay of 2016, Oklahoma City. You're also down 3-2. He gets 41 that night. Is there a quality about him in a desperate situation with the team facing elimination that allows him to produce these type of performances?
Yes. I think Clay doesn't worry too much about repercussions. He doesn't worry about judgment and results, and I think he just loves to play. And he's so comfortable in his own skin. I just think he wants to go out there and hoop, and he doesn't worry about much else. And so the pressure doesn't seem to bother him much. He just competes and plays. And as I said, the two-way ability of this guy, hounding the MVP of the league, most likely all game, and continuing to rain down three-pointers. He's amazing.
Steve, Tim Calico on The Athletic. After last game, there's a lot of discussion about Durant in isolation, and you said you'll take the mismatch every time. But was there so much? It looked like you went away from that in this game. Was there some adjustment to kind of go away from Durant on the post every single time and go more perimeter-oriented?
Yeah, we've been trying to get kind of back to being us all series. I think Houston's done a great job of defending us, switching everything. They've built a great roster to do what they're doing. They've got size and strength at every position. And, sometimes you kind of have to figure it out in terms of the ball movement. And it's, a lot of the stuff is different for us because of the switching 1 through 5. And so I think we've been trying to get more and more movement and mix in the KD ISOs against the mismatches. And tonight, obviously, we did a better job of finding the balance.
Steve, Rick Tittle, 95.7 the game over here. Did you expect Jordan Bell to get 21 minutes helping fill that Iguodala void, or did he just play so well that you had to leave him out there?
We kind of knew that Jordan and Looney would share a lot of minutes out there. There were a few minutes in the game where we go smaller, but generally one of them is going to be out there. this team is so difficult to guard because of the isolation ability, and that's why we're playing our young mobile bigs with Looney and Jordan. But I give Jordan a lot of credit. He didn't play at all in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, but he stayed ready, really worked hard on his conditioning. And every matchup's different. Every team that we play is different. And this team that we're playing now requires really mobile, big defenders.
Tony Harvey, Sacramento Observer. Coach Kerr, the Warriors are now 4-1 in elimination games since 2015. Now you have the final game coming up another 48 hours, and I know you're not thinking about that right now, but what it's going to take, to get your team over the edge on the road?
Hopefully we don't fall down by 17 right away. We'd like to get off to a better start, but we like our formula. We like our defense against these guys, and we feel confident that we can carry this through to Game 7 on the road and continue to make things as difficult as possible on Houston without fouling. I thought that was a real key tonight. We didn't reach. We reached so often in Game 5. And when they go to the line, it's free points. It's a rest for James and Eric Gordon. So we want the game to keep going. And we have to be disciplined enough to not reach and not commit fouls. And the other factor is turnovers. The team that has won the turnover battle has won every game in this series. So that's critical.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. Do you have any optimism of Andre Iguodala potentially playing in Game 7, or are you going into it preparing, operating under the assumption he won't play?
Yeah, I mean, we're operating under the assumption that he will not play, but he literally is day to day because it's a bone bruise. There's not sort of a timetable. It's more just up to the individual and how he's feeling, and we don't really know. So we'll just keep taking it day by day. We'll see what happens.
Art Spander, their defense was sort of forcing you to get jammed up a little bit. How did you finally shake loose? Was it their defense relaxing, or you guys able to move the ball?
We did a better job moving the ball tonight for sure. The pace was really fast, and I thought the one positive of Houston getting off to that start that they did was the pace was high, and I didn't like the poor defense we were playing, but I liked the pace, and so I think once we settled down and we got the defense in a better position, then we started moving the ball, and the game felt more like a Warriors game. Thanks a lot.
Golden State Splash Brothers found their magic and now will find their way to Houston for a Game 7. Our post-game coverage continues after this. Durant was one of those 26 as he found Kevon Looney for the bucket in a runaway win for the Warriors. Back inside the locker room we go to hear from Nick Young.
Please tell us about your latest dream, Nick.
Yeah, it was Dennis Rodman came in my dream last night, and I was wondering why he came in my dream. He had the purple hair, all kind of stuff. But he told me, tomorrow you're going to play a little defense. I was like, nah, that's not my game. Dennis Rodman, why you in my dream? But it, just so happened I played a little defense.
So what turned things around in the third quarter, Nick?
Just the energy change. We fed off each other, and I know this team been through everything, and I just went out there and tried to give it my all, and going to Game 7.
Well, did you notice something like on the bench, some kind of change? I mean, all the way down? Is it with?
No, it's just all to go home. The energy picked up. He picked up our level of play, and I think everybody had a little dream last night, so hopefully, they'll tell y'all about it.
All right. Nick Young there. Klay Thompson with 35 tonight.
Well, Nick Young, one of a kind, boy.
Yes, he is.
Clay, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Watching you tonight, I couldn't help but think of a similar situation 2 years ago where your team was down 3-2 and you hit 11 threes in that game. Are some players just born for this situation? How do you stay cool?
I don't know if I was born for it, but I definitely worked my butt off to get to this point. And I mean, I guess you could say I was born for it. I guess I don't know. I guess everything happens for a reason. But man, that felt good, to be honest. I just wanted to play with as much passion as I could tonight. You probably saw me more vocal than I usually am. When your back's against the wall, if your shot's not falling, or you can always control your passion and how hard you play. And usually when I do that, it trickles over to every other aspect of my game.
Clay, Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. What was the team's demeanor at halftime? And was that passion there in the locker room and determination? I mean, you guys are champions. Did that kind of come out?
Absolutely. I think we were down 8 at half and 10. We were down 10 at half, and we felt like we gifted them a great first quarter they had. They were obviously hitting shots, giving credit, but we weren't really forcing them to do anything they weren't comfortable doing. And we knew we were in a good position if we just played the same kind of defense and with the same effort we did in that second quarter and continued to move the ball and push the pace. So the score was a little misleading in our minds, and we were going to come out firing and just leave it all on the line.
Clay, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group, on that idea of the third quarter, what's been kind of the theme this year that's allowed you guys to have so much dominance coming out of the second half?
Man, I think for the last few years we've had great third quarters or start of second half, especially in the playoffs. Probably just how disappointed we were in our first 6 minutes of the game. We were disappointed ourselves, and we knew the fans were, and we wanted to give them a good show. And we just didn't want to go out like that. We wanted to force Game 7 so badly, and but we got to turn the page. It's basketball.
Melissa Rowland, Bay Area News Group. After a pretty slow start for Steph Curry, what did you think of the way he bought into his shot after that and went on to affect the game?
Man, Steph has, he is built for this. Just his ability to forget what's happened in the past, his ability to play through mistakes, not worry about the last shot. And when he's aggressive, when he's moving the ball and he's relocating, he's so hard to guard, and it gives me so much more space, Kevin, everybody on the floor. So we got to come out like that on Monday. We can't, be stagnant on the offensive end. That's when we play into their hands.
Hi, Clay, Jet from the World Journal. James Harden played pretty good in the first half, but he didn't make any scores in the fourth quarter. What's key to the defense?
He's a great player who is extremely hard to stop one-on-one. And you can't get discouraged when he makes those step backs. When we stopped fouling him on threes too. We gave him too many easy buckets at the free throw line, but you got to stay disciplined when guarding him. He's got to work real hard for their team. And we know over 48 minutes we throw different bodies at him, and we rotate on the backside when he makes that pass out the key. That we have confidence in that game plan, and that's what we did tonight. And hopefully make it difficult for him Monday because he gets his shot off so effortlessly.
Clay, Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Steve Kerr had a really interesting take on why you're able to do this under such pressure and desperation. He says it's because you're so comfortable in your own skin. You just want to go out there and hoop. You don't care about judgments or repercussions or any of that.
I don't, and I was not always like this. I used to be so hard on myself, especially early in my career. I remember one time actually losing a game against the Nuggets and just leaving the arena in my uniform. I was so mad. But I've learned as I get older, if you play with passion, you play hard, and you leave the game saying, I gave everything I had in those 48 minutes, you can live with the result.
Clay, Janie McCauley from AP. Once you guys were able to kind of get in the transition game, how much better did the shots look? And that started with defense. Steve said he expected them to come out hot and loose. Did you just have to withstand that?
Yeah, but we had to adjust some things. Can't give them rhythm threes. They thrive off those, and I think they made 11 in the first half. So we had to take that away. And when I feel like we're the best team in the world and the most fun team in the world to watch when we're pushing that ball and getting defensive stops, making the simple play. We got too much talent, not just to hit singles like Coach always says, and trust the next man ahead of us, because it will end up working in our favor most of the time.
Last one, Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area. Clay, when you have a big assignment like you did tonight with James, does that in some ways help your offense? Because it looks like when you lock in on that end and really focus, sometimes it appears that your offense kind of comes off of that, the energy.
Oh, absolutely. And it's fun to score the ball. It's great to see shots go in, but when you take pride on that defensive end, you make the offensive player work for every bucket. When you get stops, that's just as good as feeling. So for me, I love competing on the defensive side of the ball, especially against one of the best players in the world, James Harden, and the other guy, Chris Paul, who's also a phenomenal player. When you got two matchups like that, it's fun to get up for because they don't come around that often.
Great. Huge night from Klay Thompson. He went for 35. His fellow Splash brother, Steph Curry, with 29 on the night. Hear players say over and over again that there's no real carryover from game to game. But what, if anything, does that outburst mean on Monday night?
I think for a game like that, there is carryover, particularly for Klay Thompson, the way he played on both ends of the floor. As great as his shooting was, and it was spectacular, I don't even recall him missing. It seemed like every time he shot it, it was going in. But his energy on defense and what he did defensively, particularly to start the second half, really helping lead his team. He and Steph willed their team there to victory. It was really impressive, and just feeling good about themselves after 2.5 or two games and a quarter where they were playing pretty poorly.
Right. Well, let's get you back out there. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant have made their way to the microphones as well. Another couple of guys capable of 30 or 40 a night.
Group, Steph, Steve Kerr said that Draymond Green had a message for you at halftime. Can you talk about exactly what he said to you, what that meant to you, and how that helped turn things around for you?
Yeah, excuse me. He just told me to slow down. When you want a game so bad, and the energy in the building and how we were trying to claw our way back into it defensively, that affected my offensive game. I was just rushing a little bit, not being decisive with my shots, and it was a nice little pep talk, get my confidence, and just come out in the second half and just try to make plays. All the way down the roster tonight, everybody made an impact on the game, and it was a fun night in front of our home fans to take care of business and give ourselves new life coming into a Game 7, so it was fun.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic for both of you. How much of the strategy tonight was just push at all times, and why do you think that's been an issue in maybe the last few games, and just how important was it to just quicken the pace?
It's important because that's how we play. The key is to not foul and not turn the ball over. Because when that happens, the pace slows down. It kind of gets where they want it. They get a little bit of rest and can set up their offense. And if we make or miss, if we push and just be smart with the ball, good things will happen. Guys will find open shots, and for the most part of the game, after those first 7-8 minutes, we figured it out.
Janie McCauley from AP. Clay just said he is made for this, born for this, to do this in big games. What do you both remember from that 2000?
Please don't go there.
What do you both remember from the 2016 game at Oklahoma City?
Next question.
I think we both blocked that whole year out of our memory. For sure. So we're good.
This is for Kevin, Rick Tittle, 95.7 The Game. After the slow start in the first quarter, it seemed to me when you got that block, it kind of re-energized your game. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, for sure. They came out knocking down shots early, and
I felt like we had some good looks to start the game, especially myself, that didn't fall. And so I just tried to stay in the game, stay engaged. And that was a huge play for me personally to kind of keep me going a bit. And, I thought our crowd fed off of it and our team did as well. So just continue to make plays when you're not making shots and, stay in the game somehow.
Tony Harvey, Sacramento Observer. This is a question for both of you, Kevin and Steph. What is it like playing with Jordan Bell? I mean, he's running around. He doesn't look like he missed many defensive assignments. Does he really make you guys feel comfortable out there with the minutes that he gets?
He's a confident guy. That's one thing about him that's consistent. Whether he's in the rotation or not, I think he's real observant, trying to figure out, when his moment's called, how he can make an impact. And I think he's just fearless. As a rookie coming in this type of environment, you can kind of go into your shell a little bit, and he doesn't have an issue with that at all. And so when coach is confident to throw him out there, whether he gets a stop, makes the right pass, makes a mistake, whatever it is, he always tries to find a way to keep playing hard. And can't say enough about a rookie in that type of situation, similar to Pat last year, the way that he stepped up. So doing it in different ways, and it's great to have him.
One for both of you guys. Mark Schwartz, ESPN. Steve was in here earlier kind of giving some insight about why Clay does have the ability to perform like this when you're down 3-2. He says it's because he just wants a hoop. He's so comfortable in his own skin, he doesn't think about anything like that. How much of that is responsible for his ability to come up so huge?
I mean, that's why he is who he is, and he's just kind of numb to the environment. I know he's excited to play basketball, whether it's game 2 or game 2 of the regular season or game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. But just he's confident in himself and what he can do out on the floor on both ends, and he's never seen a shot he doesn't like. So when you have that kind of recipe mixed in, good things do happen, and usually at the right time. Yeah, another question for Katie. I'll tee you up.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having my back. Kevin, everyone's focusing on the 9 3-balls, but how would you explain how he could, make 9 3-point shots and still have the conditioning to stay with James Harden, the MVP, up and down the court for 40 minutes?
Well, he's a top-level athlete. He got good genes. Just thank his dad and his mom for that. Being able to have that type of stamina to make shots and play good defense, but it also just comes from him just loving the game, him loving to play, and loving these moments. And he just took full advantage of it. And it's definitely inspiring to every basketball player out there that Clay continues to just love to play every single day, no matter what. He still has that childlike joy for it, and I think tonight showed a lot on both ends of the floor.
Mark Spears, Undefeated. For both of you guys, just talk about the challenge of going to a place where they haven't been to the finals since '95. You guys trying to get back, the pressure, the challenge, just everything that comes with trying to get this victory on Tuesday on the road.
We gave ourselves a shot tonight, and hopefully we can carry that momentum over. Game 1 down there, we played a solid 48 minutes. We got to win. Game 2 was totally opposite. And Game 5 came down to the wire. So we know how to play well in that building, and just got to be laser focused from the jump. I guarantee if we start the game out like we did tonight and they jump out to a lead, it's going to be 10 times harder to try to make it a game. So for us, that's our challenge, is to have the same mentality we had for the last 36 minutes of tonight and bring that from the jump. Game 7, but it's going to be fun. That's what you play for, to be in a situation where you're 1 win away from going to the finals. It's pressure both ways because of how big the moment is, and got to want it.
Last one from Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area. This is for.
It's a great opportunity for both teams to come out there and just play a great brand of basketball. And I know for us, we're going to come out there and be ready to play from the start of the game. We put ourselves in a position now to have one more game to try to get to the finals, get back to where we want to get to. And
I think guys are ready for it. So, we're looking forward to going down there and, locking in and, being who we are. And, can't wait till Tuesday.
Monday.
Oh,
Monday.
sorry, Monday. Who said Tuesday?
I don't know.
He said,
He
meant
my
Monday.
bad. Monday, yeah.
Please don't miss a game.
Yeah. I got you. I'll be on the plane.
Okay, Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area. For either of you or both of you, Clay looked tonight. He was really hyped up more than usual. He usually keeps a lid on himself, and you don't see a whole lot. But today, he was jumping around. He was yelling and screaming. I mean, is that unusual for you guys to see, or just something that you don't see that often? Or did you need to notice it?
He had great reason to be that excited tonight. So I like that fire, that energy when you know he's engaged and appreciating what he's bringing to the game. So. Whether it's a subtle little fist pump or him jumping up and down or whatever it is, when he's animated, that's good for us as a team to kind of keep our foot on the gas pedal and keep pushing and him doing his part for sure.
Great, thank you.
All right, we continue on. James Harden at 32, just 10 after halftime. We'll hear from the Beard when we come back. On fire tonight, but it all went up in smoke in Game 6.
Defensively, we just a lot of miscommunication. First, like you said, that first quarter we did a really good job of communicating, limiting on their threes, just contesting everything, making everything difficult, And then second, especially that third quarter, we come out and they go on 11-0 run, but it was just miscommunication, turnovers, things like that. So things that we can control. That we know all series, turnovers, allowing them to get out in transition and layups and easy threes. So it's pretty much simple.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. James, with or without Chris, what kind of confidence do you guys have going into Game 7? And as a leader of that team, what will your message be to your teammates?
I mean, if you ask us when we were in the Bahamas this summer, we put this team together. Western Conference Finals Game 7 to go to the finals against the Warriors, we'll take that, and so nothing changes for us. We know what we have to do. Obviously, it's going to be defensively and just too many mislaps. It's like we give Curry, 1 or 2 threes, 3 threes in the third quarter. Like, it just can't happen. But we're still confident. We're a confident group, and we just got one chance.
Mark Spears, undefeated. James, let's talk about going back to that city, the opportunity to win it there, a place that hasn't been to the finals in so long. Just talk about the pressure, but also the opportunity as well.
It's no pressure. It's an opportunity, though. Opportunity that we all, are excited to be a part of. Game 7 at our house. That's what we worked the entire regular season for, is home court advantage. So we're going to come out and we're going to be ready.
James, back in the room here, Bruce McGowan, KCBS San Francisco. Just curious, with the short rotation tonight, you guys came out with such a high energy and a high pace, the crackling, movement of the ball. How difficult was it to summon up that energy in the second half?
It's not difficult.
No?
You got an opportunity to go to the finals. It's not difficult, We just got to go out there and do it. We've been doing it. The games that we won, we do it. We do it for 4 quarters, and it looks good. We had a lot of opportunities, missed shots, missed layups, but that's not what's gonna get it there. Defensively, we got to be in tune and engaged for 48 minutes. When we win, that's what happens. When we don't, that's what happens. So we're good.
Grant Cohn, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Did you get tired in the second half?
No.
Okay.
James, Greg Bailey from ABC in Houston. I don't know if you're aware, but there were 10,000 of your fans inside Toyota Center tonight to watch you guys on the big screen. What do you say to those kind of fans, and what do you say to the fans who are going to be in that building in Game 7 to support you? What do you need from them?
I don't need to say anything. They're gonna bring it. We got a whole city behind us, and they're as loyal as they come. Game 7 in H-Town. Let's get it.
Colin Ward Henninger, CBSSports.com. James, you had 9 free throw attempts in the first half, and you didn't have any in the second half. Was there a difference in the way that they were playing you?
Nah. I was going to the basket. Just it be like that sometimes. But that won't change. I'm going to continue to go to the basket and continue to try to finish strong. And if, we'll see what happens. Thanks.
James Harden, who said definitively he was not tired in the second half, despite what a lot of observers felt like they saw. Obvious question for the Rockets. How much did they miss Chris Paul in this game?
They missed Chris Paul a lot. Not only did they miss Chris Paul from a playmaking standpoint and a guy that could facilitate, take the ball out of James's hands at times, but they missed him from a leadership standpoint. In the second half, this team flat out crumbled. It outscored 64-25 in the second half. That can't happen. I understand you might get outscored. I understand the Golden State Warriors are an excellent third-quarter team, but 64-25, 25 points in an NBA playoff basketball game for a second half, that's really unexcusable. So I think they really miss Chris Paul's playmaking, but more importantly, they miss his spirit, his fire, his competitive nature.
And, of course, valuing the basketball. They coughed up the basketball so much, 21 turnovers there.
Yeah.
Golden State was able to get out, capitalize off those turnovers. Chris Paul's there, another ball handler, also another playmaker, a guy who can go get a basket for himself or create for his teammates. They really only had James Harden who could do that against a defense that was amped up and ramped up in the second half. So if Chris Paul, a healthy Chris Paul, was out there playing, I'm not saying they would have won the game.
Right.
I think they would have given themselves a chance, and Golden State might not have had that big-time victory or second half that they were able to pull off.
Well, and so often during this series, we've seen Chris Paul either hit a big shot or make a big defensive play or a stand or just calm people down when things weren't going the Rockets' way. And obviously that was missing. It doesn't carry the same impact from the sideline. It's hard to even ask you about Game 7 because we don't know who's going to play. We don't know if Chris Paul can play in Game 7. No sense of what the severity of his hamstring issue is. Don't really know if Andre Iguodala is going to play for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr said in his press conference he's going to operate under the assumption that he won't be back. But based on what you do know, what do you expect in Game 7?
Well, assuming that both those guys don't play. I mean, I think Houston did do some good things out there early. They got a little fatigued, I think, and also, of course, the energy that Golden State brought in the second half really, I think, really bothered them. They'll be at home. They'll be able to feed off that energy at home. They need to try to come out with the same mindset that they had tonight. They were free. They were loose. They played with confidence. They spread the ball around. Guys were shooting the ball well. They have to value the basketball. And, of course, defensively, I mean, Klay Thompson, what he did was fantastic. Steph Curry. But, you can't let those guys. A couple times I thought Klay had some open looks. Got to get back in transition. At this point, it's just a fight. I mean, you're just going to have to fight for every possession. You're going to have to shoot the ball well. You're going to have to compete. They've done it thus far, and they can do it again. It's just going to be difficult without Chris Paul.
It's going to be very difficult to do without Chris Paul. Without that secondary ball handle, puts a lot of pressure on James Harden. We saw James Harden in this game come out absolutely on fire, had 17 points early in this game, and it was looking like it was going to be his night. But when you have to score the way he's forced to score without Chris Paul, which is one-on-one dribble from the top of the key, from the left side of the three-point line, the right side, that is a hard way to earn a living, and it is super hard to do and keep your energy up and not be tired if you're doing that for the whole game. If all of your buckets have to be isolation plays where you take 8 to 10 to 15 dribbles, you're going to be wore out in the second half, especially when on the other side, those guys are figuring out how to move the ball. This game, Golden State had 26 assists. They figured out a way to move the ball. Klay Thompson was able to get easier shots. Same thing for Steph Curry. So those guys are getting easier shots. You're working for all your shots. I think Golden State's probably going to get Houston at home because Harden by himself just simply won't be enough. They're asking too much of him.
He can say he didn't feel it, but he looked exhausted in the second half, particularly late in that third quarter. Golden State pushes this to a Game 7. It'll happen Monday night on TNT. We'll take a break here. Stick with us. A complete, fresh edition of Game Time is on the way.